Start. God damn it. I totally forgot to add your audio to the story window. I'm sorry. Add it to the main window. God damn it. Okay, sorry everybody. Can you repeat that, Duncan? I'm so sorry. Fucking Jesus.
Well, I guess I will start from the beginning then. I was surprised that that Steam was included here because I haven't historically considered Steam as much a social media platform as things like Discord and Twitch. Uh, Twitch, I also am, dubious on the relevancy of, because like Twitch isn't a place that interpersonal discussions happen very often, but instead it's a place where like large creators influence people. And
Right, but
that creator economy extends to multiple platforms. There's no creator that's like only a Twitch creator. They also do YouTube. They also do Twitter. Uh, and to not include those platforms as well is maybe it's maybe not seeing the entire picture there.
and
And then
they're going for the gamers, man. They're
they're
going
going
for
for the
us.
gamers.
Yep.
Steam was just less expected, and I was saying that Steam communities seem to seem to have a conservative bend, right? They have this sort of right leaning thing, as the gamers against woke Steam curator lists and those sorts of things.
Those were some of my favorite things to read. Lordy.
And there's also I have a perception that there's a connection to almost like a sort of underground pseudo scammy sort of like vibe to Steam community groups. Uh and to explain what I mean by scammy here, a lot of this seems to be birthed from like the marketplace parts of Steam that CS:GO trading and trading cards, and that's rife with people kind of trying to scam each other, right? Or gambling, and engaging in those sorts of things. And it reminds me of the sort of communities that pop up around RuneScape, right? RuneScape is a game I've played a lot of. And RuneScape has this issue where if you're playing RuneScape, people are constantly trying to scam you.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of people gambling like all the time on RuneScape. People are originally there was the duel arena, and people would go into like generational debt to just continue gambling in the duel arena. And there's always been a long history of like dice games and people using flower colors that have randomness to gamble with, and that sort of stuff. I see a lot of echoes of that in a lot of Steam communities, because I think they're kind of born out of like CS:GO skin trading and trading card stuff, and people engaging with the marketplace parts of Steam, and making that a big part of their lives.
But like, what about that do you think inherently leads to going down the like alt-right rabbit hole here?
I've seen that in RuneScape, because RuneScape also has a lot of it's definitely in its communities, like in its player communities. There's a lot of very conservative groups, but I think that part of that is that I think that maybe some parts of some conservative ideologies are much more allowing of the behaviors that these groups attract, right? The kind of self-motivated profit motive sort of thing. You get a lot of people who are kind of ANCAP, like very self-focused business grinders that want to come in here and they want to make a profit off of these sorts of things. And even if that's a very small proportion of the community, they're allowing them to be there kind of paints the tone. I think another important thing to consider is lack of moderation. I think that Steam communities have kind of flown under the radar.
Yes, yeah, very much so. Very
And
much so.
it has all the infrastructure of a social media, but doesn't have the usual moderation that comes with larger platforms that kind of have to care about that sort of thing. And Steam has always been very lax on user behavior in lots of realms. For example, the entire marketplace thing is, it's rife with gambling and speculative stock trading and things that are normally something you would really, really want to watch and prevent manipulation of. And Steam doesn't do that, like, to an extreme extent.
Oh well,
They're kind of allow people to just do as they do on there.
I think Valve entirely loves to be hands off as possible with almost everything. They're like, yep, the
Yeah.
good stuff will happen if we let it happen, and the bad stuff will eventually go away. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
maybe.
and they're not wrong. They're not wrong. I mean, they're wrong about the bad stuff going away, but they're
Oh,
not wrong that good stuff will happen because from their perspective, they have higher user engagement and they take a share of anyone trading on the marketplaces. They get part of that. So if people are scamming each other and trading a bunch of money and gambling, as long as they get their cut, it's just good for them. And when it comes to Steam communities, anyone on your platforms means they're more likely to use their platform. So people who are engaging in talking on Steam communities are more likely to buy games on Steam.
yeah, I mean,
So,
yes.
so even if it's a kind of a zone for radicalization because they're hands off and no one's stopping that sort of thing from happening, uh, kind of who cares because they're still buying games.
Well, and I think that Twitch is like the one here that I'm actually not like that concerned about. I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm sure that you can go watch Asmon or Hassan and get your mind warped to
Right.
whatever that is.
But you can do
You
that
know,
on. I mean, that's the nature
that's
of
on
social
YouTube.
media in
Yeah,
general.
it's on everything. Like it's like how we post. We have our Twitch stream, and then it goes on the RSS feed, and it goes on the YouTube, and then Aaron is currently working on getting it to the TikTok. Like
Right.
it's so it's one post goes everywhere. But like I look at Steam and I see a very obvious like rabbit hole to like, oh, I really like Tarkov, and this Tarkov game is a lot of fun. And then you run into a bunch of alt-right weirdos in your Tarkov group, and they let you know about how dope Ayn Rand is,
Yeah, no.
and
This
uh
happens in gaming communities. Like I said with RuneScape, I once joined a RuneScape clan from
huh.
some stranger, and went in and they were talking about how they're like, God, I hate Joe Biden so much, and and they were talking about how they hate women playing the game. Like shit that it's like, why are you even bringing this up? Why are you
How
bringing up
how
that
did
you don't like
how
women playing RuneScape?
how did
What?
this get into what? Why do you care? Why do you care? It's
Right?
I like just it's always like the why do you care thing for me. It's just like I
That guy was
don't.
also actively doing drugs on call. That guy was
Oh
insane.
yeah, no, that it's you always run into the most strange people. Like, yeah, like I would run into that where like I'd be playing World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft has those people too, where it's
Yeah.
just like dude sharing his political opinion in the middle of a mythic dungeon, and I'm like, okay, I guess you
Why is
know
this coming up? Why are
why
we
is this
talking about this?
well, look, man, we got
Yeah.
time this key. I don't care about what your thoughts on Donald Trump or
Right.
are like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so God. Yeah, no, I get it, and I get how like if you don't have like, which a lot of young men in particular don't, you don't have like an
Hmm.
external support system. You'll fall into some bad shit. Uh,
Yeah.
like that's straight up. Like, I thankfully had like I did sports and I did a bunch of other stuff where like I had a good external support system, but like yeah, totally. If you don't have a good external support system, you can totally fall into this rabbit hole of fucking, like just
Hmm.
turning into alt-right man, and then that's a
Yeah.
real problem. I do think that this is disgusting that the House
Yeah.
is calling these people in. Like that is that
Yeah,
that.
it is a whole gross occurrence. And it's very performative, and also like they're not calling in all the platforms that are relevant.
Yeah.
It's kind of weirdly targeted. Um, yeah, it's just it was just it made me consider the sort of level of social media engagement on Steam, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's actually really present and has a weirdly conservative bend from what I've seen.
Yeah. I'm wondering how that breaks down game to game. I would love to see like a census of every game and community in gaming and where they lean politically. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think gaming as a whole has a slight right wing bend.
Why do you think
From what
that
I've seen.
is? What do you think that is? I'm curious.
Well, I think it's historical. I think
Mm,
it's that
yes.
video games have historically been
Mhm.
marketed using identity in a way that makes people associate it with like a personal group, right? Video game have been a man thing historically is how they were marketed, even
Yeah.
though the actual player base has always been closer to 50-50. There's been a slight male bend, but the fact that there's become that gendered association means that people who are more willing to lean into that gendered association are more likely to engage with the medium. That, and I think that a history of a lot of right wing political movements
Yes.
associated with gaming having happened, specifically like things like Gamergate back in 2016. Uh, all that stuff happening somewhat filters out people who are leaning oppositely politically from movements that are associating themselves with gaming, slowly shifting the demographic towards a more conservative group
But
rather
like
than left leaning.
but then like I like think about and they're a lot older than the past decade, but like I think about like the 2000s and especially the
Yeah,
90s where it was like really the in a lot of cases it was very much the Republicans being like those damn
being against
video
gaming. Yeah,
games and those damn video games and rap music is ruining the youths.
yeah.
So
The thing is that political messaging wasn't targeted towards the youth. Uh,
mm,
the right wing political messaging in gaming has been targeted towards gamers, and over time, realistically, a group of people that either would have become gamers or already were gamers stopped being gamers or didn't become gamers because of political messaging they disagree with being super prevalent in the culture that they want to engage with. Whereas back in the day when there was a lot of Republican anti-gaming messaging going on, there's
mm.
even bubbles of it happening right now with RFK Jr. saying things like, "Oh, well, I think maybe violence in video games is a thing again." Uh,
The video games caused the autism and the vaccines.
right, exactly. Uh, I think that during those periods of time, that messaging was targeted towards people who don't play video games and are concerned parents. That was all messaging for concerned parents. And
Mm.
so they weren't changing anyone who already was engaging with or was going to engage with. That was messaging about games for people who won't play them. Whereas conservative movements like Gamergate were messaging about games for people that are playing them, because that was a really large group of people, and it kind of pushed the entire scene a little more to the right. That
Yes.
and a lot of the
Yes.
media platforms that people used to discuss gaming very early on were also right leaning.
What do you
You
mean by
know,
that? Because like I remember like forums, like I remember I didn't think GameFAQs or GameSpot or even like 08 Giant Bomb had that bend to it.
right, but you also have to acknowledge forms like Something Awful and
Mm,
4chan.
that's
Uh,
fair.
both of those groups were really, really relevant to the early development of gaming culture. Especially if you look at it's especially relevant if you look at a game like EVE Online, for example, which
Nice.
has sort of samplings of every online community that was
Eh.
big at the time. Each of them got their own small group of people that went into EVE Online as representatives of their online community. And the largest people that are represented there are people from Something Awful forums and from 4chan. And Something Awful, it's had a lot of different cultural shifts, but there's maybe been a bit of a conservative bend to that group of people over time. And 4chan very openly has had a right-wing bend on account of its anonymous rules being really favorable to people who want to say disagreeable things, which are more common amongst conservatives.
So why do you think that all like these particular gaming forums and these gaming groups trend that way? Do you think it was just the early marketing? Do you think that it's
I
something
think it's a sociological consequence of the way that they work. They're mostly anonymous, right? So you can have an anonymous identity. Anonymous identities are attractive towards people who want to say disagreeable things. And
yes.
so if you have some extremist beliefs, like you're a racist, or even you're like an extreme anarcho-capitalist, or you don't like women, those spaces are going to be attractive to you because they allow you to express them safely, right? So those spaces naturally attracted conservatives, and it also naturally attracted nerd culture. And it attracted nerd culture both because they were made for culture initially, and because nerd culture was, when you go back far enough, because it's very accepted nowadays, but it was kind of unaccepted.
It was unaccepted when I was like in middle school. Like I
Yeah,
got a whole
when
torrent of shit
when
only
I first
20
started
years
watching
ago.
anime, I didn't tell any of my friends. I didn't tell any of my friends when I first
Mm.
started watching anime. It took a couple years until other people admitted that they were like, "Yeah, I kind of watched Sword Art Online." Uh, for people to start being kind of willing to, it turned out we were all watching anime, just not telling everybody about it, right? And if you go a decade prior to me, it was actually only a few people watching anime, and it was kind of weird uh for them to
I
come out, and they might
I
actually receive some social
well,
backlash.
you and I, you're 26, right?
27 now.
27? Okay, so I'm 8 years older than you. So yeah, because
Mhm.
like I was the person who arguably stupidly like wore Dragon Ball Z shirts to like middle school and elementary school.
Right.
And I got fucking bullied hardcore for that shit.
Right.
And it, it is, and like,
Well, and
what?
if you go even a little further back from that, even playing video games openly was like kind of nerdy,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, 100%.
Uh when you jump to my age, I was never secretive about playing video games because that was like a social prerequisite. Everybody played video games. It was just universal.
And
Uh
yeah, video games were kind of hit or miss for me growing up. Like a lot of people played. Were they like gamers? No, but you started to see the early days of like casual video gaming of like I buy Madden and Call of Duty.
yeah, right. It was, for me, it was everyone's at least playing Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
They have Xboxes, they have they're playing video games, and that meant that there was really not a lot of social ostracization around games as much, but there still is a bit around getting really into games, where I think today that's not the case at all.
No,
So
not the
people who are into nerd culture have always been sort of pressed into anonymous online spaces because it allows them to engage with their hobby without dealing with that social ostracization they might be worried about from in real life experiences where they had that happen. And so that pushes them towards forums like 4chan, and obviously Something Awful isn't anonymous, but you have private accounts, uh and it's filtered because I believe Something Awful is paid form. It was kind of its whole deal. Uh, so you get you get more of those people engaging both because they are conservative and because they just like video games, and that results in a mixture of those two communities, uh kind of moving the dial over for how conservative gamers are in general, uh along with them, because they're going onto platforms where people who are conservative are also attracted.
Okay. No, but like, I don't know. I've seen a very good mix of gamers, but it might be just the communities I'm in. Like I think about the FGC and how it's very, very goddamn gay and trans.
Right, and
Like,
well, so for one thing, that's obviously a more modern development.
yes.
The FGC didn't used to be full
No.
of trans women.
It was not
Uh,
full of trans women, but it was very much all races, all creeds.
exactly,
Uh,
and
uh,
and that's because different communities have different sociological consequences of how they grow, and the FGC grew out of literal physical local communities, right?
yeah.
A huge part of the culture of the FGC is meeting up in person for an event. And the fact of the matter is that the biggest events and the most influential events are going to be the ones in the largest cities, because they have the most dense population, which means the most people have access to actually showing up to an event. Cities have liberal bends because they have more exposure to different people, right? So, all races, all creeds is a thing. If you live in a big city, you're gonna run into that, right?
Yeah.
And so FGC communities growing out of these physical spaces meant that you're getting a lot more people who are showing up that are of different groups. And so the community naturally has to be accepting of those people, or else it's not going to have an advantage in growth in comparison to another community that's less accepting of those people.
Right, versus like, okay, I'm trying to think of like a community that is not like some weird econ game that's incredibly conservative. Um, hmm. I
I mean,
guess I
from
would.
what I've been told, World of Warcraft seems a little conservative.
World of Warcraft is weird because it very much depends on your server. Because like if I,
Yeah.
I think about like my server and my guild, and any time that like an alt-right opinion comes up, that person just gets bullied out of the room. But
Let me give
it's
you an example story that maybe a
oh wait,
mini
actually no.
sociological
No,
test.
I do know that for some reason World of Warcraft Classic is super
Yeah, so
conservative.
classic. So
Yes.
that was what I was going to
Okay.
bring up. Is that I have a friend who's a very prevalent World of Warcraft classic player, and
Yes.
he was selling some kind of service. I believe it was teleporting people from place to place,
Mhm.
which is for some reason valuable. I don't play World of Warcraft. I don't understand why. Point being is that to do this, you have to broadcast messages in chat advertising your service so that people
Yeah.
will come up to you and pay you gold for it. He was running like 3 accounts doing this. And one of those accounts, he put American travel service, the mega travel service where you get transported. He was putting in a bunch of like big conservative America first shit in his chat messages. That one made like almost twice as much gold than the other two characters he was running.
So, this is, as someone who does play World of Warcraft, yeah, I noticed that myself. Is
Mhm.
like I noticed that there is definitely a divide politically in that community where I have noticed that a lot of right-leaning people tend to play classic a lot
Yeah.
more versus
Mhm.
like almost every single person I've run into in retail. So at least in my server in my guild has been very much like at minimum neutral, if not left-leaning.
Yeah.
So and I'm
Um.
curious what what caused
Mhm.
that divide in particular. But
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm a strong believer in sociological consequence. I think that all of this, all of the political leanings of any given group of players of anything, is a consequence of the conditions that that group was formed in.
hmm, Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, there was a lot more scamming in Classic. You had a lot more freedom to be kind of
Mhm.
a shitbag.
You
Yeah,
could.
okay.
You could just scam people.
Yeah, versus like retail has a lot of like moderation tools. Like, yeah, you can still be kind of a scammy dickbag, but it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the last thing I have here for this particular story before we move on to the next one is like, it's super gross that the house is doing this. Like, it's
Yeah.
fucking so stupid. It's just,
Very performative.
it feels just like, oh, dude got shot. Let's do the dog and pony show and maybe try and get some censorship in while we're at it. Um,
Also, like, conservative groups have benefited from social media radicalization. I,
yes.
I don't think there's actually much of a will to do anything about this. They just want to control the speech of these platforms is what they want.
Oh, that's it. That's
They're not
all I
going to
want.
accomplish
You know.
any of that. But this, I feel like this is mostly just a show because they want to go and put pressure on these platforms to stifle left wing speech.
Mm, well, all right. Well, that's the depressing political segment. Let's talk
Yeah,
about let's talk about the next news story.
yeah. Lenovo has canceled some pre-orders of its $1,100 Legion Go 2, saying it substantially exceeded expectations. Pretty
Yeah.
simple story here. They got a shitload of pre-orders. They got a lot of pre-orders, and then they went, "Hey guys, we can't fulfill that many pre-orders."
So the
And we'd rather cancel them than just delay a couple people getting them.
So the Legion Go 2 is kind of like the ultimate handheld. Like
Hmm.
it has an 8.8-inch OLED screen, so it's not only the biggest handheld screen, but it's also an OLED. It's 144 hertz. It does the Switch removable controller thing. It's using the newest Z2 Extreme chip.
Hmm.
It is the Ferrari of handhelds. And if you want the correct model, the one that has all of it, it's $1,300. The base is 1,100. And when I saw that price, I was like, who the fuck is gonna buy this? Who in their fucking right mind is gonna buy this? And apparently I was wrong. I was very wrong, apparently.
Yeah.
Because damn dog. So good on them for canceling the pre-orders and being like, yeah, sorry, we're not gonna hold your money. We're not gonna hold it hostage while we wait for more of these to get made. Um, yeah, man, it's crazy to me the demand in this handheld market. Like,
Yeah. People want their handhelds.
I, I'm curious what the cause of that in particular is, especially willing to pay like laptop prices for
Yeah, I don't
one.
know. I don't get why the handheld market is so prevalent. I'm especially not one to get it because I don't have a handheld or have interest in using one.
Well, what is that? I know that you said your preferred handheld experience is like a 3DS. Like, why is that?
Well, for the 3DS, it's because it's small, and the games, are only for it. So it's mostly the games that are on it that are getting me to play it.
Mm,
Uh, that and yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the size is actually probably the biggest part. I like that it's not that big and that I can carry it with me easily from place to place. Uh,
yeah.
Takes up very
You you
little of the
you
storage that I have for travel.
you don't have to have have it like you can just put it in your pocket. You don't have to carry a bag. Uh,
Yeah, but even then, most of where I play a 3DS is it's at home. I usually sit in a chair. Like uh, I uh, I don't really engage a lot with the benefits of moving around and like having a mobile experience.
mm.
Uh, so I prefer to have a monitor in front of me or a TV in front of me.
Yeah, I am the same way, but like I part of it is like I do most of my work in this room. I do a
Yeah,
lot of my leisure in this room. Uh, because of this, a handheld has been nice because like I can at least go into other parts of the house or even on the back porch and enjoy my games out there instead of in the, asylum that is the office.
Right. I just every time I find myself being like, "Oh, maybe I'll play games in a different spot." I'm like, it's just less convenient. It's just less convenient because this spot's not made for me to play games in.
I don't know, man. Have you tried gaming from a bed? It's pretty sick. It's
I
pretty
hate
sick.
gaming from a bed. I
What?
fucking hate
What?
gaming from a bed. This is the one thing I have. This is the biggest one I have a problem with because it's uncomfortable. You have to hold your arms up, or you have to lean over, and then one of your ends, but then
Do
also
you
like your
not?
view of it
Wait, wait,
isn't
whoa,
quite in
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
middle.
Do you not have like a headboard? Just like, sit up on your headboard. You're there. Just, yeah.
No, my bed frame does not have a headboard. But
Is
also,
it like,
if I have that, then it's the same as sitting in a chair.
yes, then you just switch it off. Well, I find a bed, depending on the bed, it can be more comfortable than a chair, but that's besides the point.
I've
And
never had a
then
bed more comfortable than my chair. My chair is so good.
uh, you have to let me know what kind of chair you got. But I say as I just had to buy a new office chair this week because the last one broke.
I mean, I have a steel
Yeah.
case Mia. I know the exact kind of chair that I have. It's
Uh,
great. It's a
okay.
fantastic chair.
Good to
It's one of
know.
Steel Case's 3 super chairs.
Ooh. How much was that?
I got a great deal on it. I got it for $300.
Damn.
They're normally $1,000.
This was a big problem I had, and it's why I ended up having to go with the same manufacturer. That they support big boy sizes. Yeah, I'm a
No, probably not. Probably
damn,
not.
damn. That like I ended up doing a bunch of research on this guy, and I was just like, sorry, small tangent, everybody. I ended up going to do a bunch of research. And I was just like, oh, there is like not a lot of manufacturers for my size that are like
Yeah.
under like $1,000 or $1.50. So I just ended up
Yeah.
buying the same manufacturer, but at least it has a cool design now. Yeah,
Yeah. The Secret Lab one.
it's all
Uh,
cyberpunked out.
I'm in fact deeply familiar with that chair, as the video that made me purchase this chair cuts that
Really?
chair in half with a chainsaw.
Okay, fair
That
enough.
specific one, the Cyberpunk 2077 one.
So this might just be I have a weird back or something because I have never found the Secret Lab chairs uncomfortable. They're,
Here's the secret. He doesn't actually cut the chair in half with a chainsaw. He
okay.
just says during the whole video, he says, "I'm gonna cut the chair in half with a chainsaw." And then when he goes to do it, he goes, "No, it's a perfectly fine chair. Why would I cut it in half with a chainsaw?"
Okay. But like I'm just like I don't know, like literally just like people are like, oh no, it's a little hard. I'm like, I don't know. I just put a blanket on it and then it seems like perfect. It's great. Yeah.
I encourage you and everyone else in the world to watch all 11 and a half hours of Tim Rogers'
Oh
Cyberpunk
Jesus
2077
H
review.
Christ.
That's the video I'm referring to.
Okay.
There's an entire hour dedicated to like that chair and a chair similar to this from the same manufacturer.
Okay. I tell you what, I this past week I booted up Cyberpunk again.
It's the perfect time for you to watch the video.
And yes, so I'm gonna finish Phantom Liberty for the first time, wrap up the main game, and I will put that fucking video on when I'm working.
It's incredible noise. It's incredible noise. It's so good.
My girlfriend, who is the world's biggest Cyberpunk fan, is going finally, and like cheering right now.
It's it's the best video.
She also
It
started
changed my
playing.
life.
She also started playing World of Warcraft. So
There
anyway,
you go.
all right, but yeah. So
I am linking you that playlist for that video, and I expect you to watch it. Yeah.
fine. I'll do it while I'm delivering packages in Death Stranding.
Great.
But no, I look. I don't know. I've also just always kind of tended to enjoy the handhelds. Though for years, I had the belief that, yeah, it should be like as close to a console experience as you can get on the go, which was not what Nintendo up until the Switch was doing. which is why like my favorite handhelds prior to the Switch were the PSP and the Vita. So it's just like for me, this whole new world is awesome, except for the fact that someone lost their goddamn mind is trying to charge $1,100 to $1,470 for it.
Yeah,
But
that's a little
a
expensive.
little bit. What's not
Yeah.
going to be nearly as expensive is the Xbox ROG Ally. So they got
Yeah.
so
This story, it really tickles me because it seems like this is all sourced from a journalist, specifically Destin Legerier.
Ligiri.
I'm
It's
gonna
Justin Ligiri.
Legiri. No,
Yeah, please.
Legerier. Uh,
Gonna clip that
he
and
uh
send it to him.
he just called a Best Buy and was like, "Hey man, come on, just can you just tell me? Come on, come on, can you just tell me? It'd be cool."
So
And then they
so
do, and then they do tell him.
um so this is actually good news. So that the he leaked this. So he got that news from the Best Buy employee, and they say 550 and 900 for the two different
Mhm.
models. And
Yeah.
then there was another Reddit Best Buy manager last like a week or two ago we talked about who was saying something similar. But then we had another leak that said $1,100 and $700. So more and more we keep getting consistently saying 550 and 900, which I'm led to believe that is going to be the price at this point.
Surprised we don't already know. It releases in like 30 days.
But Microsoft hasn't set the price. They haven't taken fucking pre-orders yet, and it comes out in like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, October 16th.
Like it comes out like in 2.5 fucking weeks, dude.
It's
Like
it's very strange for this late in the life cycle, and there's some speculation even in the article here, that that's because they're kind of worried about tariffs, and that is such a rapidly changing thing that they could find that they have to raise the price like last second, and if they want to keep it profitable over its whole lifespan, because you never know if next week Trump's gonna be like, actually, Vietnam gets a 350% tariff for some reason.
I know. Well, I actually think these are made in Thailand.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, so regardless,
Nobody's
so
safe.
nobody is say you are correct about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I I don't know. I also think that Microsoft is concerned about the price. They're like, oh man,
Mhm.
I like we need as little negative press as possible right now. So we need to get people mad about this like as close to launch as possible so less word gets around. That because
Right.
I think 550 for the gimped model is a bit much when you can get the gimped version of the Steam Deck for 400 or a Switch
Right.
2 and the gimped version isn't that much faster than a Steam Deck or a Switch 2. And then for the
Yeah.
model that you actually want, $900. Like $900 for like some weird PC handheld, but for like a mainstream, what is trying to be the mainstream Xbox handheld, that's a bit much, dude. That's a bit much.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
if you're let's think about trying to, but if we think about it from trying to target the lowest like engagement group of people, right? Who aren't gonna make much of a differentiation between the performance of a Switch and the performance of the $900 version. Uh, like 550 is not a crazy price point. It's the same as a Switch, right? That was
no,
550.
it's Switches. If you want it without a game, it's 450. If you want it with a game, it's 500.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yeah. So it's close to Switch, but it plays your Xbox games.
well,
I
no, it
think
plays your
that
PC games. It plays PC Xbox games.
it's the same library.
No, it's not. That not every game is play anywhere, and then you don't get your 360 games. In fact, a lot of games aren't play anywhere. This is a
Yeah,
big
but
problem I have with this strategy.
right, but it feels like it's the same library. Listen, people like my brother are just thinking like, oh, I can play my Xbox anywhere. Just
All right.
that's what the messaging here is, right?
I just, dude, it drives
And I
me
think
crazy when people don't research before they buy a product.
I think that consumer group is not as affected by the hardware as as much as people like us, people who are more engaged. And now I think that the handheld market is a much more engaged group of people. People who are buying
Yes.
handhelds right now are people who do research ahead of time and do care about the performance a lot,
Yeah.
which is why the $900 version is for anyone who already likes handhelds. That's going to be the one that they want to purchase. But for the like larger market, which it feels like they're trying to press into a little bit more, the greater Xbox console buyer, the 550 version is like, oh, that's not
That,
too much more crazily expensive than a
yeah.
Switch. Maybe I'll get this instead of a Switch.
Maybe. I just don't see there's enough positives for it as the thing. It's just like, oh, it's more expensive and it doesn't have as many games. And it also, like, in some ways is worse than a Switch in terms of portability and
Yeah.
size.
I mean, to
It's
be
like,
clear, I'm devil's advocating
I
here.
know,
I
like,
don't think it'll be a successful approach to selling the product.
I think that, like, it would be lucky, this, at least in my opinion right now, I could be wrong. The Xbox hardware is not doing well. There was a story that I didn't put on here because it wasn't sourced well, but apparently the current batch of consoles is doing anywhere from 10 to 30% worse than its last gen counterpart, except for the Switch. So the
Mhm.
PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles, which means the
Yeah.
Xbox Series X/S is doing horrendously bad. People
Yeah.
are more disengaged with Xbox than they've ever been. So putting out like a handheld, I think you're gonna get some people, like I think you're gonna get guys like your brother who are like, "Oh, I love my Xbox and I am an Xbox fan and this is cool." I don't think that is a lot of people.
Mhm.
I the
I
amount
don't
of,
think it's as many as they are hoping. I don't think it's as
yeah,
many as what makes. I don't think it's enough to make the strategy successful.
and then yeah, and then you're looking at the broader handheld space and like I am the handheld guy and I was intrigued by this until I got the details of how the OS actually functions. And then I was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Because the chip in it isn't like massively better than what's in a deck or an Ally X. Like it's better,
Right.
it's faster, it's more efficient, but it's not like a generational jump. And then everything else about it, like the other special sauce was this OS. I'm like, it seems fine. Like it seems like a good jumping off point, but it has like too many caveats with it that I feel like the deck doesn't have. The biggest one being is if you go into desktop mode, if you want to go back into the higher performance gaming mode, you have to reboot the whole goddamn handheld,
Yeah.
like a PC. And
Yeah. That's
then
not great.
people don't know if the sleep functionality actually works well because it doesn't on Windows laptops or current Windows handhelds versus like
Right.
a deck functions like a switch functions like a
Yeah.
switch. And this has been my whole critique. Like, I think a lot of these Windows handhelds are cool as hell. If I woke up tomorrow and I was a rich man, I would have bought all these
Hmm.
fuckers to try them all. But realistically, I can buy one, maybe two PC handhelds every 5 to 8 years, and like none of this seems appealing. And I realize I'm getting a worse library because of the anti-cheat shit with Linux. Like, yes, I cannot play Battlefield 6 on my Steam Deck. I'm aware.
Right.
It's worth it
Uh,
because I don't have to deal with these UI and this other bullshit problems.
which is the
Ugh.
sort of thing that might attract you to a Legion Go
A
over an
Legion Go,
Ally X.
a Legion Go S, and then you dual boot Windows.
Yeah.
Um,
This story is coming in combination with our next story for Microsoft. Microsoft is raising Xbox console prices in the US again,
second,
5 months after its last price increase.
Yeah, so you know, a price increase like a month after tariffs happen, right? Like real fast.
Yeah.
And the Series X went up $100. The Series S went up $80, and they're doing another price increase.
Yep.
20 for the 512 Series S, 80 for the Series S 1 TB. Series X getting another 50, or Series X digital getting another 50, Series X regular getting another 50, and Series X 2 TB getting another 80. This
Yeah.
is, dude, like, okay, either their manufacturing costs are terrible, or
Mhm.
they're just actively trying to dissuade people from buying hardware, and they're just gonna like they're wrapping it up. They're being like, all right, this shit isn't selling. We're getting out of here.
I think its manufacturing costs are terrible.
Uh,
I
Yeah, but
can
like you look
I can
at
pretty.
like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, but they're selling a Series X regular for $100 more than a PS5.
Yeah. Uh, what this story really teaches me is
Mhm.
that if you want to make a great investment,
Mhm.
buying video game consoles on launch clearly is a great investment.
It used to not be. It used to be
I saved
stupid.
I saved the Xbox Series
150.
X
It's on a
150. Yeah, I saved $150 purchasing that on launch.
I have saved so much money on this console generation because I bought consoles at launch. For years, that was a sucker's move. They would
It's the
only
exact
get
opposite.
cheaper. Could not have gone any different this time around. Um,
Very
I
strange.
I will say these tariffs have made me want to look into replacing my whole tech stack, and I largely
Yeah.
have. I think the only things I haven't replaced at this point are my tablet, because I mostly read books on it, even though it's 10 years old and starting to bend. Honestly, I probably should just replace it. It's literally an iPad that's starting to look like a curved screen because it's 11 years old.
Yeah.
And then so there's that. And then the other thing, and I haven't replaced my laptop because I haven't had a good enough reason to.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I've replaced like my entire tech stack over the past year and a half, and let me tell you, I have never felt more vindicated by decisions. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, if we got to be honest about why these prices are rising, I think that AI is not unrelated.
oh, I definitely think that Microsoft
Uh,
is trying to get as much money as possible to support their AI ambitions. I
Not
don't
just that,
know.
I think that tech manufacturing costs in general are
Mm,
going way up right now.
mm,
And so they can't rely on the hardware becoming cheaper to produce over time because it's becoming more expensive to produce. Hardware manufacturing has had a huge manufacturing hiring boom on account of the fact that AI has resulted in like a crazy amount of manufacturing and hardware going on because of data centers. They have
yes.
a ton of hardware uh, that has manufacturing overlap with the gaming industry uh, that needs to be made to make these data centers, and the extreme hiring boom and the extreme
Okay,
demand boom
I got you.
has resulted in increased costs both for labor and for materials in the production of almost any kind of physical hardware, be that like the systems for cars
Yep.
or and of course consoles, like everything that involves you getting chips is more expensive than it used to be.
And there's another factor that goes into this as well. Historically, is you used to be able to shrink your die and shrink a lot of parts of your system by quite a bit.
Mhm.
Because it was there. It was process nodes were
Yeah,
improving.
it
Like
was Moore's law. Moore's law was in effect.
yeah. Like I want to say that like the PS2 started its life at like 240 nanometer and ended at 90 or 65 nanometer. Like it shrunk a lot.
Mhm.
Um, this generation started at 7. Most devices are at 4, and I think the smallest we can do is 2 nanometer right now. Like that's
Yeah, I
it.
mean,
It's you can't.
lithography is just it's reaching the limits of how small you can make electronic components. Like you just can't compact these things
And
much more.
and then like we're partially limited by the architecture of consoles and PCs right now
Mhm.
because they all run on x86, and there are more efficient chips out there. The chips in these things are more efficient. They fucking
Right.
they're significantly more efficient. Same thing with the Apple Silicon and the ARM processors. But to use those, that would require you to go and remake all your fucking software of the past 50 fucking years, and nobody wants to do that.
Right.
So,
Uh yeah, and the like it's becoming much more difficult to make things smaller and therefore harder to make them cheaper. Also, lithography machines are getting to a point of insane levels of complex advancement that like you can't you can't invent a lithography machine that's just going to be much better than an existing lithography machine.
well,
You're
yeah,
getting diminishing returns on
I,
the research.
I mean, AMD on their Ryzen processor are already stacking chips, dude. Like, it's
Yeah.
not even like a flat plane anymore. It's like, no, we're putting shit on top of each other. So
Yeah.
it's getting to the point where like we've hit a physical limit. It's partially why I actually so like believe in the handheld space right now, because like, okay, we've plateaued graphically, so that obviously means handhelds will catch up a little bit more, and then we're going to be in a flat plane. And like, yes, the handhelds are still going to be the minimum performance spec, but everything is going to have like a certain range of a playing field for hardware, and then it's how much money do you want to spend for how good of an experience you want to have, and how mobile do you want to be, you know?
And I'm not sure that this is gonna be a problem that gets fixed. I
Oh, I
mean,
don't think
a
so.
lot of this is related to like political turmoil in different regions. Like, the fact of the matter is that if China goes to war with Taiwan, things will be very difficult for video games.
I,
uh,
I,
because TSMC is the company that sells all of the chip manufacturing lithography machines, and well, specifically the highest end ones. There is
I was
no
gonna,
other company that provides the highest end
I was
chip
gonna say,
manufacturing lithography machines.
I was gonna
They of
say,
course have
Intel's still
Intel
out
as
here.
a major
It,
competitor,
Intel's out here.
but
They're trying. They're
they're an
trying.
entire generation behind. Uh,
Yeah, arguably too.
and
Arguably too.
I mean they're worried about getting put out of business by Nvidia. Like they're in a really tough position, Intel. Which is why Nvidia just gave them $5 billion because they don't want Intel to be shut down because they don't want to deal with having too little competition, which brings regulatory eyes, which you don't want. Uh, but the worry is that the next generation of lithography machines is also going to be a complete monopoly by TSMC. Because if that happens, like, this is just a further extremification of the existing problem of the fact that, if TSMC develops another generation of lithography machines that are better than what they currently have, that is before Intel reaches the same level that they are currently at, they will have 2 generations of no competition for the highest end of development. They'll have a locked 2 generations of the market to be completely under TSMC, which a big part of the price increase of chips, and by extension all hardware, is that those machines that you have to purchase from TSMC are really 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 fucking expensive. They're like an unbelievable amount of money.
Yes,
And
and
that's a lot of your manufacturing cost.
and I think that you're looking at it, and I encourage people to buy your hardware now. And the reason I say
Right.
that is, and buy the goodest shit you can get because you're probably going to be using it for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because I think that hardware is not going to improve much. In fact, so in my opinion, as someone who just did an entirely new top of the line tech stack front to back, um, the only thing that I feel like over the past 5 years has been a super giga improvement is screens. That's like the
Hmm.
one thing where I'm like, yeah, no, screens got real fucking way better over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, not much else. So what I would
Hmm.
tell, and kind of headphones. Headphones are like weird, but so like, yeah, I would tell people like, yeah, if you're, go upgrade your computer, go get a PS5 Pro. Like, it ain't gonna get any cheaper. I'm telling you right now. Ride, just like I'm just built this computer and I'm gonna ride this motherfucker into the sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yep. It's the state of that's the state of things with with hardware. We those are our hardware stories.
yes. So as for Xbox, I don't know. I think I think what they're actively trying to do is transition everyone in their hardware ecosystem over to PC. And so,
Yeah.
or a smart, or like a smartphone streaming. Like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to move
Which
you
is
there.
surprising me because it's surprising to me because it's just helping Steam. It's helping Steam a lot.
Yes, it's helping Valve. It's and then like the thing is a lot of people just don't want to put up with the PC everything, so it's also helping Sony and Nintendo a lot. This is not
Yeah.
like this game where they're playing where they're like, I'm trying to, well, we're just gonna offload all these people to PC and smart device streaming. It's like, dog, these people are just gonna go buy a PC or like go to Steam or PlayStation or
You know,
Nintendo, but
I have a friend who plays exclusively Xbox games. He
uh-huh,
plays exclusively Xbox games because he
uh-huh.
only plays on an iPad.
You've told me about this gentleman. Yeah.
Yeah, he only plays on an iPad
Mm-hmm.
via cloud gaming. And Xbox's cloud gaming service is the best thing available for gaming on an iPad. And he's been playing a ton of Silksong. Apparently, the controls are responsive enough that he can play Silksong effectively.
I wish I wasn't ruined by fighting games, so I now notice in my life every last little bit of input delay. Because
Yep.
I have tried multiple times to play games via streaming, and even if I like get rid of like the graphic stuff, like the artifacting, whatever, like even when there is next to no input lag, it is still noticeable enough where it bothers me. In some cases, it's
Yeah.
playable. Like I've recently been testing out all the different streaming services for a video I want to do, titled that "Can we stop trying to make this shit happen?" Because dog, this ain't it.
Right.
And like even in the best case scenario, I'm hooked up wired, I'm on a fucking gigabit connection, my router and like setup is configured perfectly, and it's still just like, oh yeah, there's input delay, and it's noticeable. And yep, there's artifacting. Oh, you got a lot of area that's like has a lot of stuff going on. Enjoy your artifacted garbage mess here. And
Yeah.
it's
Um,
not.
the thing that surprises me is that Silksong is a pretty input sensitive game. That's a
Yeah,
really
yes,
really precise
that's
game.
why this shocks me.
Uh, and he not only is he doing fine and hasn't noticed any problems,
Mm.
he is the furthest out of any of us.
Uh, so
He has done the most using this
so
cloud gaming setup.
I do want to say maybe he is just used to it because
Mhm.
I remember back in the day when we did the Chrono Trigger Let's Play on the old website. We had to
Yeah.
use we didn't have a capture card because we're poor and in college.
Right.
So we used a TV tuner. So this was a device
Mm.
you'd hook up to your TV to record television.
Yeah.
Um, and it worked, but the input delay was like massive. It was like a second to 2 seconds.
Mhm.
So I played through about 3/4 of Chrono Trigger with massive input delay, and I got used to it. So I was doing
Yeah.
my menus and everything fine. So maybe that's what he's doing. I would like you should put him on a local machine. You should be like, here, check out Silksong on my computer. Tell me what you
Yeah.
think.
Um,
Have
yeah,
your
it's
friend be your lab rat for this show.
I would if he was not many states away.
Oh, okay. Well,
But yeah, that's it's just I think the reason I bring that up is that I think they still believe in the cloud gaming future. I think Microsoft still
I,
wants to
I,
make it happen.
Microsoft believes in a lot of things that end up untrue, as you can see from the Microsoft graveyard.
I'm just saying the
Uh,
$550 performance, the performance of the $550, console that they're selling for the RG Ally doesn't really matter if you are streaming the gameplay the entire time.
yeah, that's true. And if you're willing to put up with the input lag and the artifacting and the fact that you have to have a stable internet connection to do that, then yeah, great.
Because that's one benefit my friend gets. He gets fucking perfect performance out of every game he plays.
That yes, and that is a big benefit. Like that's been a big benefit with GeForce Now, and before that, OnLive. It was in
Mm-hmm.
OnLive, but like all those services existed 15 years ago, and they have the
Yeah.
same problems now. You
Yep.
know, it's literally nothing has changed with that in 15 years.
Yep.
And
But I'm gonna transition us though. You know
uh,
what? You know
uh,
who isn't having this problem? Nintendo. They're having a
no,
different problem.
no, they have decided. So Nintendo has decided to outsource their customer service.
Yeah, Nintendo
They
customer support concern following outsourcing decision ahead of Switch 2's first holiday season.
so Nintendo of North America had their support center in the US, and they like most companies do, they contracted it out because they couldn't be asked and they didn't want to pay the money for in-house employees. And apparently Nintendo has been just like, yo, hey, let's go outsource all of this. They
South America.
yes, they said South America, that's cheap. So about 200 employees total. Contractors were informed through their respective agencies. Sources told IGN that they never received any direct communication from Nintendo of America. Not a thank you, not a I'm sorry, nothing. Because they are contract employees, they do not receive severance pay, even if their contracts are ending early. Their contracts run through September. Are still working their usual jobs with a new duty added. Now they have to help train the replacements. It's kind of fucked up if you think about it. Just like, uh, so yeah, they're outsourcing to South America, which is actually happened to a job, the job I had before my most recent one. Is my job got outsourced to Honduras.
Oh.
So
I mean, yeah, this sucks. It always sucks to see people get laid off. And but like, I see why Nintendo's doing it. $8 million,
yeah,
right? Assuming you're paying people $20 an hour, close to $40,000 a year, 200 people, you're moving it down to $1. You're saving close to $8 million. Which they have a metric here in the story where they mention that the people that they're paying in South America, in Brazil in particular, seems to be where are getting paid about equivalent to $1 an hour USD. And that's much better. Even compares to the minimum wage in Washington where they were currently doing it, which is 16.66 an hour. That's many millions of dollars that they are saving doing this.
yeah,
Uh,
but
so it's probably a case of them feeling like, well, how many of our people really use our customer service support line?
yeah,
Not a crazy amount. And then also, all right, well, how negative is the performance in South America versus how it currently is? And it's like worse, but not that much worse. And they also know that they're going to be paying the most during this period because the holiday season's coming up. So they probably just went, yeah, let's just save that money. It's a very easy business decision.
It seems just like, and you normally don't see a hit in quality when it comes to Nintendo, and this just seems like, hey, we're making our customer service worse to save a buck. And that's a
It is an
very
unusual behavior from them.
and that is a very un-Nintendo decision, especially because you just got a new system out, and they're like that. It hasn't needed much support because it's apparently been very reliable. I haven't heard really anything major about Joy-Con drift or anything. I've been playing mine plenty, works great. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah. Um, so I don't know. I think that it just feels weird. Um, you know, um, yeah, and I just
Yeah.
think that I don't know, man. It's it just feels weird. I'm looking at this and I just like think anytime I've seen a company go to South American support, it takes like over a year to get it up to speed, and even then it's not as good as when you get out of some US agents almost every time. I cannot tell you how many times I have called like a company and had to deal with foreign support and they don't understand what I'm describing to them. And it's
Yeah.
just like it's the most frustrating thing in the world. But then again, like you said, how often do people call Nintendo support? Because
Right.
this is back office teams, fraud, financials, chargeback, customer service, chat logs, customer phone and email support, refunds, account bans, remote data transfers, repair support, everything customer support. There are a few people remaining on site to overseeing it, but essentially it's all going that way. So
Yeah.
fraud, probably not often. Back office teams, financials, weird that they don't do that in house. Uh,
Yeah.
chargebacks, probably not that often. Customer service, probably not that often. Chat logs, not that often. Customer phone and email support, refund, like all this shit is, stuff that
I mean,
probably
customer
isn't.
phone and email support is probably the number one thing.
And even then, that's probably not that much for their products, considering they have been traditionally pretty reliable.
Yeah, well, you
Um,
just have to use you have to use your email for e-store, and so it's almost certainly the most common thing is, oh, I can't get into my thing.
yeah. So,
Help me.
yeah. So I think that like there's that. Um, like
Mhm.
otherwise, I don't know.
It, so it's I think it's a really easy decision to make from a business perspective. Obviously, it's bad for the consumer. It is bad for anyone who does need to call customer service because, even in the story, people who formerly worked for Nintendo customer support are saying that, like, yeah, they are having some problems, but for the most part, they would send the more difficult problems up to the existing 200 employees in the United States. They were already clearly doing some of their customer support work in South
Mm,
America before. So the system, what they described the way it worked is that the first line you would get an outsourced South American customer support, and then if it was too complicated for them, they would just push you up to whoever is in the United States,
mm,
and they would deal with the more complicated problems. So now they're just phasing out the push up and making the same people deal with the more complicated problems. And that's probably a low percentage even of the things that they do get. An even lower percentage are complicated enough to need to send up. So it's a really easy decision to make for your customer support for most companies. This is the standard of what most people do. It's kind of unusual, in fact, that Nintendo of America has their customer support still in America because it's expensive.
yeah. It just man, and also for companies this size, saving, what you said, 2 million, 2 million a year.
8 million.
8 million, even 8 million a year. It's like that seems like such a drop in the bucket in
Right.
comparison. But
it's a drop in the bucket, but decisions like this get made by individuals who are, I mean, the structures of these sorts of companies, right? It's that everybody is dealing with a boss who wants their bonus,
Yeah,
and that boss's bonus relies on their department's performance. And so 8 million is not a lot for Nintendo as a whole, but it probably is a lot for
it's
the guy that made the decision to move it, because that contributes to his bottom line under his section, which contributes to his bonus. And so that $8 million probably
it's
gets somebody closer to their goal.
I forget the comedian. I want to say it was George Carlin. It's just like this guy wants to please their boss, who 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 wants to please the CEO, and he fucking hates all of you or something.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's
But you with a company like this, while $8 million is absolutely a small amount of money to Nintendo, $8 million is never a small amount of money. And every company wants to structure themselves to make sure that these large amounts of money remain large amounts of money to avoid waste. And so anyone involved in this process, to them 8 million is still a huge deal. And so,
is
this
it a
change
huge
is pretty
enough
consequential for them.
deal? But also here's this is what I would say. It's the same reason why, like, as long as you can keep the cost of the device down, I always ask, is this a huge enough deal to make our core product and services worse?
Right.
And
And
apparently, and this is to them, and I understand why.
right.
Just
Well, so the result of this is that you're going to get a guy in a meeting with a graph. Someone's going to have a PowerPoint about this, and the
fucking love
PowerPoint's going to
PowerPoints.
show
Yeah.
it's going to show the drop in customer service. They're going to have a bunch of reports, and they're going to go, this is the drop in customer service satisfaction, and this is the amount of money we made. So this is how much it would cost for us to increase our customer service satisfaction, and this is the amount of conversion to sales that customer service satisfaction makes. So we are net making or losing money
It's
on this, and
it's
I'm gonna bet they're net making money on this deal.
well, oh yes, they absolutely are net making money, but it's the Robert McNamara thing where you're just turning every aspect of business and life into numbers, and that's not every part of business and life,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Otherwise,
Mhm.
life and business would both be a lot easier.
Yeah, because there's
Well,
there's kind of the intangible fact that Nintendo has a sterling reputation for quality of games and quality of hardware and quality of service. It's a big part of their brand, I feel like, is the fact that people consider Nintendo very, very reliable. Obviously, people who are more engaged with games like us have lots of problems with Nintendo,
I have
but
very mixed
which game
opinions on
company
Nintendo, but
which game company do we not have lots of problems with? Right?
yes.
It's for the average consumer, Nintendo is just popping out bangers and making consoles that work, right? And that gives them a really, really good reputation. And so this is a little bit of a smudge on the reputation, because it
And
means that if you're an average consumer and you call customer service, it's going to be worse. Your opinion of Nintendo is going to go down a little bit. That's not something you can really
it,
quantify.
and it's something that, like, doesn't happen overnight either. Like it's
Yeah.
something that just, like, let's say you're one of those people that has a Switch 1, you're not getting a Switch 2 yet. You have to call customer support for Joy-Con drift, and they don't understand you, or you're having trouble getting the point across, or you're having to take a process, and you do that a couple more times. You're like, "Ah, fuck it, I don't want to get a Switch 2. I'm just gonna go get a PlayStation 5. Fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well,
go."
and the big problem you worry about is this behavior becoming endemic, right? Because if
Mhm.
you are shaving off your quality for profit and you're doing this in one spot, it might be fine to do it in one spot. Like, this move alone is not going to sink Nintendo ever. But
No,
if this sort of move happens in every single part of the process, if it happens in manufacturing and it happens in software development and it happens in game development, like if all of these departments get hit in the same way, Nintendo's net reputation is what
and
gets hit. And you
and
start
it,
becoming a company that engages in poor consumer practices for the sake of temporary benefit because it makes you hit that quarter. And that is the sort of thing that Nintendo probably doesn't want to have happen.
and I think that like that's a slippery slope, and then you kind of end up where Disney is right now, where like just there's a lot of nostalgia for Disney when it was like a high quality product, a prestige product, and there's a lot of love for
Right.
what they used to make. But right now, like I think right
Now
now a
they're
lot of
slop
people,
dealers. They deal a lot of slop out.
yeah, and I think they're just riding on, and like that's the concern you have with Nintendo is them just riding, resting on their laurels, and just like yeah, that's it, just sitting there doing nothing and trying to cut cost, and especially because like becoming a money company, I guess is the best, focused only on the money and
And
not the product.
you know who's a great example of a money company?
All right, who?
Gearbox.
Gearbox has definitely become a money company, as you can see by our next story.
By our
Duncan,
next story.
what's going on here?
Borderlands 4 performance gets worse the longer you play on console. Randy Pitchford suggests quitting the game and restarting.
I love so we got another story with him. I love how this man, the CEO of this company, has been on like Twitter all week responding to complaints about this game. Like on console, it obviously has a memory leak. The longer you play it, the worse its
You could
performance gets.
you could tell it's getting to him.
Like you could just like work around until we patch, quit game and restart. Sorry for the friction. And so there's that. And then confusing comments on why this version doesn't have an FOV slider, the console version.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then he has started telling Borderlands 4 players to refund the game on Steam if they're upset. Dear God,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, in fact, let's take this as a combination story because I think it's just too
Yeah, but
eloquent what
like it
Randy Pitchford
all
has said.
weaves into each other.
Uh because the second story immediately after is code your own engine, show us how it's done. A quote from Randy Pitchford goes on the offensive as Borderlands 4 PC performance row intensifies.
He
Uh
says, quote, code your own engine and show us how it's done, please. He also suggested that people put their irrational distrust of video game graphics tech, such as DLSS, aside and use it if it's available to them.
so this is something I even wanted to bring up earlier when we were talking about the cloud gaming streaming because you're very sensitive to input delay.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest criticisms of DLSS is that it causes input delay.
So
Uh,
DLSS doesn't cause it; it's FrameGen that causes it. Which I will
right.
get into their comments about fucking FrameGen when we get there.
They
Ugh.
really want you to use FrameGen.
It's not what FrameGen is even meant for. God damn it. Oh my god. FrameGen is not supposed to. Oh, this was my biggest concern when that tech came out. So
Yeah.
FrameGen, what these people are trying to use it for is FrameGen is supposed to be like get you to, like, if you're already running a game at like 200, it's to get you to like 240 on a high refresh rate monitor, right? Like that's the point of FrameGen. Okay, so if you're playing like Counter Strike,
No, the point of FrameGen is I'm gonna optimize my game for 30, and then we're gonna FrameGen it to 60.
and it's gonna have horrible input lag, but look
Yeah,
really smooth.
they'll deal with that. They'll deal with that. It's fine.
I won't deal with that. Fun fact, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So he says, every PC gamer must accept the reality of the relationship between the hardware, their hardware, and what software they are running is doing. Kicking off a thread clearly designed to address performance issues. We've made an amazing and fun and huge looter shooter campaign game that is pretty damn optimal, which means software is doing what we want without wasteful cycles on bad processes. Dude, look, I don't. Everything I've heard about this game's performance tells me that the only computers that can run it are ones like mine. So like 0.025% of the fucking audience. You know.
A part of this that is briefly mentioned in the article is that they have released a like on Steam. They made a Steam community post that is like,
Uh
this is how you should set up your NVIDIA settings to run the game. And he brings up Randy Pitchford in his interview brings up a lot of statistics that basically goes where he goes, I don't think that this is a real problem, right?
okay.
Because he says that out of all of their customer service calls, only like 1% of them are related to performance. And among that almost 1% that's related to performance, like over half of them
Oh
are
my god.
just solved by advice on changing settings given during the customer service call.
Okay,
And so
so
they made a Steam community post that is like, look, this is the settings that you should have that should solve most of your problems. And he's saying that it's not a performance issue because if you configure everything correctly and you get it all set up and you get all your little adjustments done, that it performs pretty well. Uh and
so
this gives
so
me a different
can
complaint.
you like send me that post real quick?
Yeah, I actually have it open right now.
Like
Uh
I need to see this real quick. Um,
Absolutely. It
because
is linked in the article as well. But there is
I
the
need to.
Steam NVIDIA optimization guide, and it is in the post here. Let me
Okay,
find the quote
so
that he's talking about the percentage. So he says, he tweeted customer service
okay,
report for
so
Borderlands. He tweeted customer service reports for Borderlands 4 are roughly 1% of installs and 0.04% are PC performance related, with CS flagging as 0.009% as quote valid. 0.037% have experienced success with education, in quotations, setting or not in parentheses setting coaching. That is less than 1% of 1%. 0.01% of customers using
oh,
CS tickets for valid performance issues, which is less than 1/5 of users using customer service to get help with Twitch drops.
uh, uh,
Pitchford
uh,
explained. Then the kicker, this reality is dramatically different than what you would expect if your only sources of information were, say, internet threads. No such assumption made, Pitchford added in response to one person who pointed out
I,
everyone with PC issues file a ticket. We are also looking at telemetry in real time, regardless of what people report. There are people with low perf that and we care about that, but 1% of 1 million is 10,000. Just 1,000 posts feels like everyone on the internet. That's how chatter works.
I,
That's what he said.
I, I am looking at. Why do they want you to turn off anti-aliasing?
I don't know.
And every single one of these says to use DLSS.
Yep.
And then my next question is what if you have a AMD GPU? Like, what?
So he has a quote about this in the story as well. Let me go ahead and find it. It's a pretty big story of stuff that he's said. He has just been talking over and over again about this.
I
Uh,
hate that I have a different version of the disease Aaron has, where now I want to buy this to see the train wreck. You know, but continue.
uh, he says use DLSS. It's great. The game was built to take advantage of it. This is not a competitive FPS, and I have been led to believe that in a blind test, humans cannot detect any input lag. In my
Bet.
own demonstrates and experiments, I believe this is true. Everyone has the freedom to believe what they want to believe, and I know on the internet it's easy to find rage and passionate people who are convinced of all kinds of things, whether they are true or not. If you are so attached to the idea that DLSS is bad for your game experience because of something you saw or read on the internet, I am sorry. I hope instead you would use the technology designed to give you the experience you want.
Okay. All right. I'm going to address this in two different parts. DLSS isn't a problem when it comes to input lag. It's frame gen. And he's
Hmm.
telling you to turn on frame gen and all these, which is dumb and terrible. And no, you should use frame gen to, like, if you're playing Counter Strike and you want to go from like 200 FPS to 240 to lock to your monitor. Like, okay, sure, fine. As for DLSS, DLSS is very game specific. If you do a good job optimizing DLSS, yeah, it looks great. You most people won't notice it. In fact, I have a pretty keen eye for this shit, and the only place that if a developer does a really good job with their DLSS optimization, you can occasionally notice it on certain movements, like in Cyberpunk, it's like fans for whatever reason you can notice it. So you see like a turbine fan, you'll notice ghosting. And another place you notice it is hair. DLSS is really bad with hair. I did it if for some reason it just doesn't work as good as it should. I think most people won't notice this shit if that's any consolation, but I do think that if if you are people who notice, then sure. As for this game running like this, I don't know, man. I look at this game's visuals, I'm like, I mean, it looks good. Doesn't look like it
Does
should.
pretty good.
It doesn't look like it should require this. What the hell are you asking for here? Um.
Yeah. Uh well, so let me put this by my standards, okay? So my standard for a game's performance, I'm really not performance sensitive. I could play games at 30. I could play games at 30 no problem.
I play games at
Right?
30 if as long as as long as there's no like frame spikes. Like I played Spider-Man 2 at 30 because the frame pacing was like perfect.
I can deal
Uh,
with frame spikes. I kind of don't care.
uh,
Right? I've slummed it on garbage for most of my life. So a game running like shit is par for the course for me. My game I've been playing the most lately is Minecraft on a mod that makes it run like shit, and it just freaks out constantly and does a bunch of dumb bullshit. And I'm just kind of used to that sort of stuff, and I don't mind it. All right. So my standard playing a game, how well it's optimized, how well it's made, is if I can turn it on and continue to play it and not have interruptions and visible problems and have to change things to make it work good, right?
mm.
I don't want to go into the settings. I don't want to see your settings page. I turn down your master volume and I shouldn't see it ever again, right?
So how has this game been treating you? Because I know you've played it.
Horribly. I booted the game up and it crashed. Crashed to the intro sequence. I booted it up again. It crashed to the intro sequence. Got a little further. It took me 10 times
Okay,
before the game got into gameplay
all right.
without crashing.
You've convinced me to buy this game. I need to know.
So
I need to know on my
so
own machine.
when I went and actually played, I'm noticing visible lag spikes, right? Get into an area, big lag spike. Like, mind you, I'm running a 4080. I have a very high-end gaming PC.
What's your CPU? What's your CPU? It's like an i9.
Yeah, it's an i9 13300.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I got a good PC. And so I am the sort of person that should be able, I have a strong enough computer that I should be able to just turn on a game and it should work, even if it defaults to high settings.
Yeah,
Almost, it's the biggest reason I put so much money into a PC is because I don't want to touch these settings. And most games will go, oh, we detect that you have a fucking monster PC, puts you on high, no problems. I don't have any issues the vast majority of the time, right? So what Borderlands is doing is whatever automatic settings it put me on, they're wrong, right? And now I know that, especially after having read this story and having looked at that Steam page, if I spend an hour and a half finagling with these settings and going, oh, let me go to the GeForce experience and let me change this and let me, you know, and oh, I update my driver and I'm gonna do this. If I spend an hour and a half doing that, this game is gonna run much better than it is currently running for me. I, as a consumer, should not have to do that shit.
I really, really want. I think this is something every studio needs. They need to hire a guy who is super performance sensitive. So like even more performance sensitive than me. And that game is not allowed to ship until that guy says it's okay. And your settings on each performance level are right. So ultra high, medium, low. So it's like, okay, if it's a low, it should support this hardware. Yeah, like that's what they need to do. Because like this is, I'll say this: you sold me on picking up the game. No, like I'm kind of interested to play it. I want to play with my girlfriend, but like I'm interested in picking it up just to see how bad the performance issues are, and if like, because this computer has the best CPU you can put in a fucking computer right now. It has the second best GPU you can put in a fucking computer right now. This thing is full, 64 gigs of high speed RAM. Fucking, like this thing is as good as you can fucking get. And if I come to you next week and I say, yeah, I had performance problems, then Randy Pitchford, you are a fucking liar. I want you to know.
Like there's no excuse for a computer like that not to just turn on the game and work.
Yeah, so this is ridiculous. And also, I will turn off frame gen. I'll keep DLSS on. I'm not a DLSS hater, but
yeah, it's ridiculous. And unfortunately, the game's really fun. that's the other problem.
I've heard
is that all of this stuff with performance, it's made the reviews on Steam mixed. I'm pretty confident that if it didn't have these performance issues, it would have like very positive on Steam. It's great. It's great for the actual like franchise.
I'm also curious. The Switch 2 version comes out in like a week or two. I'm so curious to see that version of the game. I am so curious.
So obviously we have the story here about how the game's performance gets worse on console. However, for one thing, everyone I've played with has been playing on console. I'm the only one on PC, and none of them have had crashing problems. I've had crashing problems.
Well, how long of settings how long of sittings are you going for? Because that's another thing that is.
So what it was is that I had a ton of crashing problems, but only right at the start. Once the game actually got working, no crashing problems. It just went fine. So it was like super tiny mini sittings that made it crash, but the long ones it's fine with.
Also, it's crazy that every time you change stuff in the settings, you have to recompile shaders. Every part about this game reads, "This is not well optimized in any way, shape, or form." Like UE5 games are already come out like half finished and get optimized over time later. But like this, even by UE5 standards, seems really, really bad. This seems like egregiously bad.
That's not good.
All right. Well,
but man, is it fun to double jump and you get a glide and you have a grappling hook? You have a grappling hook. And then the bosses, you can respawn the bosses really quickly now because they just have like a machine at the front that just respawns the boss. You can grind it again, so you can just go boom, 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 and do the bosses and get the big loot drops. It's good. It's good. It's fun.
All right. I will download it and like put, I'll keep it under 2 hours just in case I hate it and I can refund it to Steam.
Yeah.
Because I have to know. I have to know. Aaron is this way when a game has very split, mixed opinions. I am this way when it's like it has horrible performance issues, and I'm like, okay, how bad are they really? How horrible? How bad is the nightmare? So
yeah.
All right, last news story though. So congratulations, you've convinced me to at minimum try Borderlands 4 within a refund period.
Yeah, well, and he also in this story does some like, guys, you don't need to play it at 4K 60. Guys, come on.
Who really needs to play games at 4K? Well, I knew this is a
uh,
cartoony looking game that looks like it could have came out on an Xbox 360. But do you really need to play it on 4K? Really,
he says,
guys?
here's the quote for it. I know a lot of you are dead set on playing 4K with Ultramax settings and using 2 or 3 year old hardware. you do, you do you. But BL4 and UE5 are doing a lot. And for me, that trade off for frames isn't worth it. I play at 1440p with settings super high, and I'm super happy with that trade off. The game looks amazing at 1440p. If you're not 4K stubborn and just want to have a great fun time with high
Oh
performance,
God.
please consider running at 1440p resolution. If you've got a beast of a video card, you're probably fine at 4K, but if you're in the middle or close to minimum specs, I'd definitely recommend making that trade.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'll test it on both, and I'll let you know next week. I have a 4K TV the computer's hooked up to. I have two 1440p monitors. I'll let you know what the difference is, Randy. I'll let
And
you
a little bit
know.
of poor shaming. A little bit of poor shaming. This is not a game made to run on 10-year-old PCs. This game uses the full capabilities of modern bus CPU and GPU. If you're trying to drive a monster truck with a leaf blower's motor, you're going to be disappointed. If you discover your system can't run the game well by accident or wishful thinking and or don't want to try to mess with the settings and make things good enough for you, please use the refund feature on Steam rather than having a subpar experience.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna go. See, now I'm gonna install it on my laptop. So my laptop is like it's 4 years old, almost 5. It has a 3060 6 gig, and a Ryzen 9. I think it's 48 something. And so I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
And there's also a great quote here. There's a great one.
All
In
right.
response to someone tweeting that they should make Borderlands 4, quote, the most common hardware, he said, Borderlands 4 is a premium game made for premium gamers. The
I was
minimum and
wondering where
recommended
that
specs
came
are
from.
published. The most common hardware is a 4-year-old cell phone. Borderlands 4 is a premium game made for premium gamers.
So this explains Jeff's podcast title this week.
Yeah.
His podcast title was a premium podcast made for premium gamers.
Premium gamers.
Good on him. If he didn't use that, I would have used that for our title this week. Damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
uh,
that's good old Randy. Randy the Pitch Ford.
uh, I hate this man so much. I have had a strong hatred for Randy Pitchford since like 2011, and it keeps going, brother.
He's
So
he leaked he didn't he leak Borderlands 3 along with like a bunch of magician porn on
I
his on a flash drive that he dropped at a restaurant?
I believe that's
Is that
true.
him?
I believe so. I also I know for a fact he is the one who took resources from the development of after Sega paid them for it for the development of Aliens Colonial Marines and put it towards Borderlands 2.
Oh
So
yeah. I'm
good on
flipping
him.
on Randy Pitchford. I love Randy Pitchford now.
Fucking God. Anyway,
Randy Pitchford, my god. But last story.
last story.
Uh,
So
Telltale.
Dispatch. Yeah. So ex Telltale devs are making a new game called Dispatch. It is so basically what it is it's like a Telltale game, but it's also a management sim for superheroes. Uh, so you play a dude who is like he's basically their world's Iron Man, but then his suit gets blown up and he has to effectively work at a dispatch center for superheroes and manage the team and whatnot. A demo's out on Steam. It's actually super fun. The demo is super
Hmm.
short, but it's super fun. I loved it. And yeah, I'm super excited for this. I have always liked Telltale's games, but I wish they had more game to them. And this does.
Yeah.
It's gonna be $30. It's out October 22nd. Super excited for that. And they got some big names in it. Aaron Paul, Jeffrey Wright, Laura Bailey, you know, yeah.
Hmm. I was under the impression that everyone at Telltale was melted with a laser when they got laid off, right? You know, they said, "Sorry, you're part of the company's bankruptcy. We have to liquidate you along with our assets."
Yeah, they put him in a giant vat of iron, and they just yeah.
Yeah,
These are the
and they
people who
melted the
escaped,
whole
though.
thing, superheated it.
Yeah, these people escaped.
The people who escaped said, "We still have to make games where you kind of where they look like that.
Yeah.
We still
So,
have to do that. It's in our blood. It's in our blood and our bones. We
mhm.
can't stop ourselves."
But yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm super excited. The demo was a lot of fun. The story seems cool. It's a pretty unique superhero story.
Do you get
Seems
what I mean when I say games that look like that though, right? Like
yeah,
I don't have
yeah,
a solid description of it, but like Telltale makes games that look like that. You
yeah,
know? They all look that way.
yeah. They're cell shaded. They're all cell shaded.
No, but
Someone
it's
turned
not
me.
just that. It's not just that. It's the people too. The other games are cell shaded. Borderlands is cell shaded. Doesn't look like that.
I mean, there was a Borderlands Telltale game, and they do look like
There
that.
was that one is the one that looks the least like that.
Yes, their characters are a little chunky. Is in my opinion the biggest difference. They got a little
They're very square.
they got a comic booky feel to them. They're very
Yeah.
Warcraft actually.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
I do
I've
too.
always loved the Telltale art style.
I've loved it forever, but yes, and I think a lot of that comes from they started making games on a 360 on a low budget, and they found a way to make it stylized. Is
Yeah.
my assumption at least. Um,
Uh, yeah, you know, I mean, I like you said, Telltale's always just been missing the gameplay part. So this is adding the gameplay part to a Telltale game, rather than just the decisions. I do think it might end up having a problem where it feels maybe a little inconsequential what your gameplay sections are, because obviously the
well,
story is going to be
I,
linear. It's going to be the same.
I'm curious to see how much the gameplay choices will affect the story. Like, I'm sure they have relationship meters and whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I will say check out the demo, dude. I had a great fucking time with it.
Yeah.
I was just like
Yeah. So I'll check it out.
I got done with that's one of the two demos this year I played where I was just like, fuck, that was sick. And
All right.
wanted more. So anyway, we got about 15 more minutes to go over what we've been playing. I believe you did not play anything besides Minecraft.
I played a ton of Minecraft. I've been playing Greg Tech New Horizons, which is a Minecraft mod pack centered around
Mm-hmm.
having very, very complex science in it and technology. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and man, is that a process? That is it is miserable to start. Just but there's a you know, I've mentioned this probably on the show already before, but obviously there's a whole genre of games, Factorio and Satisfactory, that are these automation games. And I strongly believe that these automation games are birthed out of the Minecraft mod pack Tekkit back in the day. Anyone who's a fan of Yogscast and watched the Jaffa Factory series, Tekkit was a big deal back in, like, you know, the early 2010s. And I think that those games are spawned from the lack of consumer address towards people who really, really loved those sorts of things. And Greg Techno Horizons is a mod pack that's been in development for 10 years. They have been actively deving the mod pack that entire time. So since 2015, back when it was the heyday of the Minecraft mod pack. And it has gotten just such an immense amount of content in it. Like, I mean, it's 2 to 4 thousand hours. It's a ridiculous Herculean
So
task to complete.
so what do you so you're just building like a factory or like what or is it like
So the end goal, they have a quest book that kind of gives
okay.
you a guide on how to develop yourself, right? Which gives you little goals. So each quest will be like, oh, make this machine. Well, why don't you make that machine? Because it helps you do this. And it explains what the machines do at certain points and why they're helpful to build. and what you'll need to get to the next tier. But really, the only goal is advancing your technological state to a higher tier of technology, right? And as you do that, you're unlocking more and more powerful tools. You know, the ages are split up from Stone Age, then Steam, then low voltage, and then it's just levels of voltage upwards. So it's low voltage, medium voltage, high, in extreme voltage, or it's high, ultra high, extreme, insane, and there's like 12 tiers of voltage that you're dealing with, and it's categorized literally by the voltage production of your energy like systems. uh
Okay.
each one is a
So,
factor of, I think, 8 of the prior tier of energy production. And so, you know, you're multiplying the energy production in each tier by 8, which is how they're categorized as tiers. And of course your amperage increases at that too, because your amperage is the number of machines you can address with a given amount of voltage. It's very real. It's very real in the way that it does its science and technological progression. Um, but you know, you start out just slumming it in like dirt hovels, and monsters are ridiculously difficult to deal with, and it's just really hard to make any progress. And then you advance to the point where you're teleporting and you exist in a personal pocket dimension, and you could annihilate giant swaths of landscape with a flick. It's very fun.
sounds right on. Okay. Well, keep me updated on that. Where
Yeah.
are you in that right now?
I just hit low voltage, so I'm starting to learn how electricity works, and God, things explode so much, and they wipe
Yes.
hours of your life away every time.
That sounds like real electricity. So yeah.
Well, yeah, so it turns out that if you put a wire that can't handle the number of amps that you have flowing through it, it fucking explodes.
Yeah. Yes.
so
That is the
so
yeah.
so I set up
Please tell me you
my
knew this going into this.
I kind of knew it. I just didn't know what applied amperage in this case. So it turns out if you take 2 steam turbines, it increases your amperage. It increases your amperage because you have multiple sources of electricity, and they all are at their assigned level of amperage. And so if neither of them are reducing their amount of amperage, the amount in the system increases. And so I have tin cables that are coded, you know, they're set up for 1 amp, and I put 2 steam turbines on it, and then it fucking blew up my machines, and I had to spend an hour and a half fixing it.
All right.
Yeah.
um.
Lots of stuff like that happened. And the steam stuff, God, the steam's exploded like 5 times. It turns out if you don't have a place to release the steam, the pressure will just keep building up until the thing explodes.
Okay. I feel like these are all common sense things.
You'd think they are, but I didn't think of it.
Oh, okay. So, in my case,
What have you been playing?
I ended up playing some of that there, Death Stranding 2. I got over the halfway point. You'll be happy to know I met your VTuber friend. I met your
Yes.
VTuber. She's cool. I took a screenshot, where it's like, so when you go up to the bases, their little hologram greets you, and it's like her. It's like
Mhm.
literally like
It's
her
just a character.
model.
It's
Like
just
you
her one to
can't
one.
go behind it. It won't let you like the other models. It
Yeah.
just disappears. So that I
It's
found
2D.
funny. Um,
It's great.
yeah. So I got to see the pizza guy bit.
Pizza
Uh,
guy, nice, nice.
I'm very conflicted on this game because it's like the opposite of Death Stranding 1. Death Stranding
Mhm.
1 is a game where the gameplay felt like a chore so I could get to really cool world building and story.
Yeah.
This, they've edged down some of the rougher, shittier parts of the gameplay, so the gameplay is actually really chill and enjoyable. It's post-apocalyptic delivery simulator. Once you have like a
Right.
good truck built, like you're golden, dog. You're set. You may have
Right.
to take some long routes, but like, yeah, you're set. You're Norman Reedus trucking, basically.
Mhm.
Versus like the story so far is kind of really poorly paced.
Mm,
Like I am 20 hours in, and it is still just setting shit up.
yeah.
And I've mostly been doing main story. I only had like a 3 hour section of that, so of my 20s, 17 hours doing story, and it's just like still doing setup, and it's just super poorly paced and overly self-indulgent, and I'm just like, Christ almighty.
How
Um,
much more Metal Gear is Death Stranding 2 comparison to Death Stranding?
not very, not much more.
Not very.
Like
Because my
it's,
my my assumption, based on all the marketing material
uh-huh.
before the game came out, was this looks like they're increasing the Metal Gear slider on the Death Stranding.
So I got transported to another realm where I fought Italian Solid Snake and a bunch of ghost men.
Yeah.
And then your main like a base slash transportation thing looks like the head of Metal Gear Rex, but otherwise it's definitely Death Stranding.
Hmm.
I really love the I like love a lot of the world building they're doing. They continue to
Yeah.
add on the first game. I would say the stuff that they made more streamlined has been great. I've been enjoying being able to walk around relatively normally without falling on my ass every 2 seconds. But yeah, like I definitely think the game. I don't know. I think its story is just paced bad, and I think gameplay wise, it's a lot better. And I think that uh, combat's fine. I wish it was a little closer to Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, I wish I had a little more of the tools from that game in terms of like being able to dive and roll and shit. But none of the
Mhm.
enemies really require me to do that. In fact, I'm playing on normal. I'm not playing on like easy. I'm playing on normal difficulty. Most enemies can be dealt with by me just rolling up with an upgraded shotgun and boom twice. It's not really been a
Yeah.
problem. Uh, BTs are still really goddamn annoying in the open world. That's why I always carry like 3 blood grenades on me, so if I can just drive past them, throw a grenade at them twice, and then go. Um, I don't know. If you like the first one, you'll probably like this one. It's kind of
I
my
uh I liked the first one. I didn't finish it though. And I so most of my time playing the first one was in a group of 3 people with
uh-huh.
us doing the missions and like treating it like it was like on edge, like high octane gameplay. Where it'd be like, oh, he's tripping. Press the button. Like we were doing that for like a solid like 2 hours.
Um,
For basically every time I played it. And I'd say I got probably like in total about 10 hours into the game. Uh,
okay, so
and
like
I loved every
quarter of
bit
the
that
way
I
through
played
it.
of it. Yeah.
It's
I just didn't play a crazy. I didn't play a crazy amount of it. I didn't go all the way through.
yeah, I'm committed to finishing this. I will say I'm kind of at the point where I kind of want to beeline through the story. I am
Mhm.
curious to see if they let me play after the story and do the other deliveries.
Right.
Uh, yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't get like why it's reviewing so well. Like I'm having a good time with it, but I'm not blown away by it. I guess is my primary statement.
I guess
Uh,
Kojima just hasn't spoken to you the way that he's spoken to the reviewers.
yeah, he hasn't. I said I think that man peaked at Metal Gear Solid 3 is uh is my big thing with that.
Yeah,
Um
unfortunately for the man's career, he only peaked at one of the best games of all time.
yes, I
By
understand that,
those
but
metrics.
like
I gotta
4
play
was
Metal Gear Solid 3. Delta just came out, didn't it?
it did. It did.
Which
Uh
one is that?
you should. It's very good. Make sure you turn on the filter, otherwise I think it looks too sterile. They have a
Uh,
legacy filter. It adds the like green effect from the original.
Makes it green again.
Yep.
I see.
And then I played the demo for Sonic Crossworlds Racing.
Hmm.
That seems cool. It seems like it's gonna be a nice alternative to Mario Kart if you want a more traditional racer. At least from what I
Yeah.
played in the demo, I don't enjoy the racing as much as I do Mario Kart. It's not as chaotic. It's not
Yeah.
like
Uh,
you know.
I guess I should also quickly bring up Silk Song. I played that.
Oh yeah, how was that? How
Uh,
you enjoyed that?
it's so cool.
It,
It's really cool. It's also stupid hard.
yeah, I've heard.
Uh, most people I know that are playing it are considering quitting because they're like, "Wow, it's a really cool game. It's so hard. I spend my whole day mad." uh, but yeah, it's really cool. It's incredibly beautiful looking. There's an insane amount of detail, just like immense polish. It's a game made of polish, you know. Uh,
And that's part of what it made it appeal to me. But I just the first one I got pretty far into it and I bounced off, and I went back to it recently before Silksong came out to give it a shot, and I was just
mhm.
like. I figured out why I fell off and why I'm not enjoying this second run, and I'm just gonna jump to Silksong to see maybe it's a better. Is I don't enjoy a Metroidvania with like currency, as it turns out, and like
The
charms and
issue is
whatnot.
that's more prevalent in this than it is in Hollow Knight.
Oh,
Like
great.
currency at least is more prevalent for sure. There's in fact like a bunch of the save points you have to pay every time you use them.
Hmm. Great.
Uh
Super.
there's a bunch of benches that are like this area is fucked up because the only bench here costs 15 beads to use. Uh
I'm gonna
Stuff like
great.
that.
So, because I love Metroidvania games, but like to my knowledge, like at least in Guacamelee, Axiom Verge, Metro, and the Metroids, it's like they don't have that element to it. It's basically just you find items out by exploring, and you find your upgrades by exploring.
I'll say
And
that the platforming is a like level beyond
oh, it's
like
super
from what I've
good.
seen
It
of like
feels
every Metroidvania.
it it
Not
it feels
just that
super
it
good.
feels good, it's fucking hard.
Oh yeah.
It's really hard platforming. There's areas where like the boss run, you're consistently dying on the way. It's just the platforming is just so rigorously demanding.
Okay. That part actually sounds appealing. I'm a fan of that kind of game.
Oh, dude,
So,
it feels fucking sick
I,
though. When you pull it off, it's like yes,
yeah,
because
yeah,
unlike Hollow Knight, where he has the Hollow Knight pogo is very easy. It's
yeah.
boom down, boom. The diagonal pogo in Silksong is so much more infinitely difficult to use and way cooler looking.
All right. Well, I'm excited to give it a shot. I know that I think I'll probably start that once I wrap up Death Stranding in the next couple weeks here.
Yeah,
Death Stranding and Donkey Kong are the two that are at the front of my mind to finish. And then
yeah.
after that, I'll probably go to Shinobi and Silk Song. So,
No, I've got the Minecraft bug, so I'll be dumping an insane number of hours into that.
can.
Pretty much
Anyway,
every free moment I have, aside from well, which is not many nowadays. It's a not a ton,
I,
but
yeah, I think in the furniture building and picture hanging stuff for the house is going to be done within the next week or two.
mhm.
So I think I will be done with the house, and at that point, it's until I get a new day job. It's making videos and playing video games and working out.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And on that note, we've made a podcast
that's
today.
you
Thank you
you
all so much for watching.
you had the podcast beamed into your eye holes or ear holes, into both your
Yep.
holes.
Yeah,
Anyway,
make sure to follow us on social media. Join our Discord, subscribe on YouTube especially, or I'll silk my song. I don't know.
ugh. All right. Also follow the main channel. That's where edited video comes. Super Gamecraft. All right. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.